Okay? Matt, what are the two problems?
2x minus 3 less than 7. And 2x minus 3 greater than 7.
Close.
Negative 7.
Yeah, greater than -7. So the 2x minus 3 part stays the same. We don't change that. Okay? But the original problem, less than -7. When it's less than, remember it's an and. And then we switch the inequality symbol and the sign with the number. All right, greater than -7. So then we just do, the rest of it's really easy for you guys. X is less than 5. And then do the same thing, add 3 and divide by 2. X is greater than -2. Okay? So again, we have to solve these and graph them. It's just a number line graph. All right, so -3, -2, 0's here, 5, 6. Okay? So since it's less than and no equal to, yesterday all my examples had the equal to in it. That one has no equal to, so it's an open circle. Less than would be to the left. And then again, open circle because it doesn't have the equal to at -2. Greater than would be to the right. And then they just meet together. The and ones are the ones that you look for what's common. So where they overlap. So from -2 to 5, everything in between works. Anything outside there, the 6 or the -3, any numbers on these ends, if I plug into the original problem, they won't work. So we just drew a picture of all the answers. Okay, so again, a lot of you did a nice job on this part, but some of you forgot to graph. Okay? I think, if you read directions, they said to put it in interval notation. I'm just going to have you solve the graph. I'm not going to worry about the interval notation stuff. Okay, any questions on that? You guys that weren't here yesterday, any questions? All right, so number 3 was x is less than or equal to -6. So you'd have an open circle at -6 and an arrow going to the left. For number 6, it's x is less than or equal to 5/6. So 5/6 is almost at 1. So you have a solid dot there just left of the 1 and going to the left. For number 9, x is greater than -3/4 and x is less than or equal to 4. So at -3/4 you'd have open circle, and at 4 you'd have a solid dot, and you would connect them for your graph. Number 12, x is greater than or equal to -3 and less than or equal to 24. So you have a solid dot at -3, a solid dot at 24, and you would connect them. That's another and one. 15 is an or one. You get x is less than 0. I'm sorry, x is less than 1. And the other one was, I guess both of them come out being x is less than 1, don't they? So you have an open circle at 1 and an arrow going to the left. Because you subtract 1, get 4, you get less than 1. And the other one, subtract 4 and divide by -4. Or would it be -1, I guess? So the other one would have been x is less than -1. But it's an or, so you just kind of put them together. So it would be from the 1, circle at 0, at 1. I keep saying 0 for some reason. And then arrow to the left. Any questions up to 15? Usually the ors go opposite directions. They don't, every now and then they'll go the same direction or towards each other. 18. X is greater than 1 and x is less than 8. So open circle at 1, open circle at 8, and connect them. 21, x is greater than or equal to -4/3 and x is less less than or equal to 8. So negative 4/3 is negative 1 1/3. So just past negative 1, between negative 1 and negative 2, you'd have a dotted 8, and then connect them. For 24, it would be x is greater than negative or equal to negative 1 and less than or equal to 4. So solid dot at negative 1, solid dot at 4, connect them. And then for 27, I just want to go over that one with you guys, just to make sure. Was x minus 4, absolute value, less than or equal to 0. So on my two problems, x minus 4 less than or equal to 0, less than's an and x minus 4 is greater than or equal to, you can't really say negative 0, so you just put 0 again. Okay, so each one you're going to add 4, right, Connor? Don't zone out on me. So I get this, all right? So if I were to graph this, like I'm supposed to, 4's here, 3, 5. For this left one, we'll do this, we'll put this one in red. It would be this way. And we'll do this one in blue. That would be that way, right? It's an and, so where do they overlap? Just at the 4. Okay, so the answer would just be a dot at 4, because that's where the two graphs overlap. Some of you had a dot at 4 and had an arrow going both directions, like everything would be included in that. The only thing that works is the number 4. Okay. Also, we didn't have an example like this, and I don't think it showed up. It didn't show up on the homework, but what if I had something like this? 3x plus 2 less than or equal to negative 3. What if something like that showed up? What's going on there? Think about it for a second. Remember, absolute value is a distance from 0, right? Absolute value is always what type of number? Positive. So will the absolute value ever be less than or equal to a negative? No. So sometimes they might try to trick you. So what would we say there?
No solution.
No solution, yeah. That can't happen. Okay? Didn't show up in our homework or in our examples, but they might do that to you one time, just to see if you're paying attention. Okay? All right, any questions on those 3 types? Just the basic inequality, the compound inequalities, or the absolute value ones. Pretty easy, right? Okay, today we're doing quadratic inequalities. Okay? So, last week we solved quadratic equations, or a few weeks ago, right? So what do we have to do when we have a quadratic to try to solve it? First of all, what should be over here? 0, okay? And then, what have we been doing with quadratics to solve them? Starts with an F. Yeah, factor, right? So, factor the 2, the trinomial. What are the factors? It's an easy one because A is 1. What are the factors of negative 15 that add up to negative 2?
Positive 5, negative 3.
Close. Yeah, negative 5 is positive 3. Oops, X. Okay? When I multiply negative 5 times 3, I get the negative 15. And when I add negative 5 and 3, I get the negative 2. Okay? So, if it was just equal to, what would we do to finish up? Renita? This set them equal to 0, right? So what's this number going to be? If I set it equal to 0. 5, what's this one going to be? Negative 3, right? We all okay with that? Okay with we call those critical values in inequalities, in these quadratic inequalities. Right, Wordman? All right, so what we do to draw, to draw our graph of this, put -3 where it goes, 0's here, 5's up here. All right, we call those critical values. So since it's less than or equal to, we'll put solid dot on both. If it was not equal to, I just put open circles. Okay? Then I have to check each section to see where my arrows go. Do I need to go, if a number in this section works, I draw an arrow that way. If a number in this section works, I connect them. If a number in this section works, I draw an arrow that way. Okay, so you have to check each section. So there's 3 test numbers we have to do. Okay? So I always pick, the numbers right to the left of them. All right? So, or, right after. So this would be, I would use -4 to test this side. I'd use +6 to test this side. And if 0's in there, I always use 0 because that's really easy to work with, right? But you can pick any number that's in here. You can pick 1 if you want. But I always just pick 0 if it's in the area that I'm looking at. Okay? So whatever's down here, take the number right next to it to the left. A lot of times 0's in this area, but if whatever's in here, what's easy, 0's, -1's, 1's, depending on what's going on. And then the number right next to this one of my critical value. Okay, and then I just plug it into the original problem. Okay, so I put -4 in here. So -4 squared is +16. -2 times -4 is a +8. And then -15. 16 plus 8 is 24. -15 would be 9. Is 9 less than or equal to 0? No. So would I draw an arrow that direction? No. Okay, so usually what I do is just put a little X in that area. All right? Then I'll pick 0. So I'll put it down here. 0 squared -2 times 0 -15. Well, that's 0. -0 -15 is -15. Is that less than or equal to 0? Yeah, so I'm going to connect these. Because 0 works. That means everything in there is going to work. Okay, Mason? And then I'm going to try 6. And again, it doesn't matter what number you pick over here, but usually I just pick the ones right, the smallest one I can use. You can pick 10, 100, 1,000, whatever you want. All right, so then I'm going to go 6 squared -2 times 6 -15. So I got 36 -12 -15. That's 24 -15. That's another 9. Okay, is 9 less than or equal to 0? No. So I wouldn't draw an arrow that way. Okay? So all you're going to do is factor, what you can factor, get your critical values. Now, if you get a little bit tougher problem, quadratic, quadratic should only have 2 numbers, so never mind. Okay? So, Nathan, factor for me, please.
X plus 4 and X plus 1, or X minus 1.
Good. X plus 4 and X minus 1. 4 times -1 is -4. And then 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay, so what are my critical values, Connor?
4 and -1. Or, no, it's -4 and 1.
Right, -4 and +1. Okay, so -4 is down here. 1's down here, 0's about there. Since it's just less than, when I graph it, I got open circles. Okay, those are my critical, there's my sections. All All right, so what number are we gonna pick over here, Holly? No, not on this side. -3 is over here.
Oh, -5.
Thanks. Here I would pick 0. And, Jacob, over here, what should we pick? Yeah. Those are the 3 I would pick. And again, as long as it's a number left of -4, it can be any number you want. As long as it's a number right of 1, pick it. I always like to pick 0 if I can, just because it's easy to plug in. But you could pick, -1 if you want, or -2, or -3. I usually use whole numbers too. Unless I got fractions going on somewhere where I have to do that. Okay, so -5 squared plus 3 times -5 minus 4. So that's a positive 25, that's a -15. So that's a 10 minus 4, that's a 6. Is that less than 0? No. Put 0 in here. 0 squared is 0, plus 3 times 0, which is 0, minus 4 is -4, right? That less than 0? Yeah. Okay, so this looks like it's gonna look like the other one. And then I put 2 in, 2 squared, plus 3 times 2, minus 4, 4 plus 6, 10 minus 4 is 6. Okay, so that's not less than 0. So basically that's what you're doing today. Okay, factoring, get your critical values, and then do your 3 test numbers to see where your arrows go, or your line connecting your circles, or your dots if it had equal to. Questions? Quick and easy. 25 minutes for homework. Not very many, 30, 32, 4 problems. Get her done. Get it submitted today. That way, you're done with it.